Legend tales of a place where the booze flows freely and the stories are always entertaining. If you are bold enough to seek out such a place, head 13 miles down the Tuscan Highway to a tiny blues joint known as the Townsmith Tavern. Once there, enjoy the ride. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and Bowl.
Excuse me, you can't say that. You're gonna lose your family-friendly rating. You're gonna corrupt the kids.
BS! A podcast that invites you to grab a cold beverage, pull up a seat, and enjoy time with friends. And here are your hosts, Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder.
Welcome to the greatest podcast on the planet with the addition of the video for your eyeballs to take in. It is Beer, Blues, and BS. The guy on the other end of this podcast, well, that's Howard Blues. I am the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder, and welcome in to another dynamite edition of the show. Triple B, if you will. And guess what? We're up and running. You can email us individually if you really, really want to. He's Howard at beerbluesbs.com. I'm Kidder at beerbluesbs.com because, you know, that only makes sense. He's Howard Blues. I'm Mark Kidder, so why not, right? But we got an awesome jam-packed show for you tonight. We're trying out this Google thing again, and hopefully it doesn't censor me too much, because the last thing that I want is to be censored. So, Howie, how the hell are you, man?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. Little tired. It's been a long day. We were celebrating the wife's birthday, so.
And happy birthday.
Yeah. So it, you know, it was a good day, but a long day with family. Because it wasn't just her birthday we were celebrating. My brother-in-law, Aaron, it was his birthday as well. He had his birthday on Tuesday. Lefty's was today. So we did a double birthday party. And yeah, I was there from like noon until like 9 o'clock.
You need one of these, eh, Howie?
Well, listen, I may be drinking the old orange juice, but I would be lying if I said there was nothing else added to the orange juice. So,
Well, is that what's on tap tonight?
Yep. What's on tap? Nice glass of OJ, a little bit of what is it? Tanqueray Rangpur gin, which was recommended to me by our good friend and the gentleman from Iowa.
Oh,
recommended it to me.
Fantastic! Yeah.
So,
I'm glad that well, I could think of a couple different names from, including alcoholic. But you know what? Alcoholics go to meetings, and I would be remiss if I said that I didn't belong in that category as well. So glad that the old rude boy Kyle could give you some great drinking recommendations.
Yeah, it was actually one of those times where we were online playing Call of Duty, and your old job before your current job called you up, and so you had to mute to get chewed out.
Yeah, I'm not working there anymore, and I still deal with this shit. Come on.
And while you were muted getting your butt chewed, Kyle and I had a nice conversation, and we were talking about what we were drinking, and I said that I'd taken up gin, and he gave me this recommendation, and it's been pretty good. It's pretty good.
That's fantastic, and I'm glad. Hold on, I'm just moving this here. So I'm glad that you got some quality beverage recommendations. As you can see over my shoulder right here, tonight's selection, first of all, every Sioux fan must try this at least once if you can get your hands on it. It, of course, is the Eddie Belfour Straight Rye Whiskey, and this is the special edition Straight Rye Whiskey Fighting Sioux Edition. Yes, the Straight Rye Special Edition. And best thing about it, Belfour Spirits right there. You can check out the old spirit info on the website, see the whole lineup on there. It is really, really delicious. On top of that, comes with the Fighting Sioux Challenge coin right there into the cork, which also looks like a hockey puck. So that's fantastic. And as you can tell, it's not the straight whiskey color. Well, that is because that, my friends, is an old-fashioned. Try out the old Proof old-fashioned cocktail syrup. You just throw some of that into your glass, throw some high-quality whiskey in there, and you got yourself one tasty beverage. That is the old-fashioned.
I see. It's missing a cherry, though.
Listen, you son of a bitch. I'm going to drive my ass over there because I know where you are. Google can't hide you that well. I'll show you 2 cherries.
I had to throw that out there after the first episode rant. You know, it was so
yeah,
good.
And if you haven't seen it, make sure you go check out the inaugural episode there with the big rant on old fashions.
Yeah. Well, Kidder, last week I issued a challenge to you, if you recall.
Yes, you did. I recall. Unfortunately, the internet might not, because in the times that it took us to try and get this thing recorded originally, well, it didn't really go so well. But we talked about it. I guessed A as Andorian. Twice, mind you. I could have done like another A, like Admiral, or maybe well, let's see. Memory Alpha. I know it starts with an M, but Alpha Quadrant. There we go. There's another A. There's a few on there. So anyway, give us the basics of your challenge once again.
Right. So if you didn't listen to last week's episode, I have a book here. It is the Little Golden Book, Star Trek, the Alphabet Book. It was a gift given to my son by my brother-in-law. And as I have put it to Kidder, I don't think that every letter they chose necessarily the best thing to kind of fill for it. So I challenged him. We're going to go through the book, and I'm going to we'll go letter by letter. He gets to make a guess what he thinks would be the thing that this book chose for that letter, and we'll see how many he gets right as we go through.
And I might end up in another rant.
Yeah, possibly. The only hints that I have really given him with it is that it can be anything from the original series through Voyager, and it can be a species, it can be a character, it can be an item, it can be an organization, it can be a rank. I did look through this again, Kidder, earlier tonight while we were going. I do feel it's only fair that I tell you there is one that is a quote that I had forgotten.
Okay.
So I'll give you that as a hint so that you don't, call shenanigans when we get to it.
I mean, I might anyway, but all right, that's fair.
You might on a couple of these. So, Kidder, are you ready?
All right, let's do this.
Let's.
It's the best 3 seconds on the internet right there.
It is. All right. So, Kidder, as I flip to the first page of this. We have stated a couple of times that your guess for A was Andorians.
Yes.
Right. I'm going to just tell you flat out, A is probably the weakest letter they chose for this because A is for aliens.
Really?
Really?
And this is a Star Trek book.
Yes.
Get the hell out of here. Come on.
I will admit that is probably the weakest one where it's like, seriously? There's a lot of A's you could have gone with. You listed off a whole bunch.
Yeah.
That's what they went with.
That's a short list off the top of my head, and I'm not even focused. I'm not even in the game. So, all right.
So that was the weakest one.
Let's go to B.
Let's go to B. What's your guess, sir?
Beta Quadrant. No. B'Elanna Torres from Voyager. Chief engineer of the USS Voyager.
You do realize this is a book for little kids.
Does it look like I know what the fuck is going on with this thing?
I'm just saying.
Just for the record.
Yeah, you might be a little obscure.
I might be obscure. She was a main character for 7 seasons. Are you kidding me?
Is that your final answer, good sir?
No. And on top of this, I mean, seriously. Beta Quadrant.
Final answer?
No. Bolians. This is going to take forever.
It's what I kind of want you to make sure you locked in your answer.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. We'll go with Beta Quadrant. Final answer.
Final answer. I hate to tell you, B is for Borg.
I guess that kind of makes sense, because the Borg are one of the largest villains in the Trek universe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, sorry.
Right.
Yeah. C.
See, I could go for Caitians, the race that was included in the animated series, and the later series here as well in Star Trek Discovery. But There's so many different things that you could really say, and this is annoying. Let's see. A book for a third grader or less equivalent. I'm guessing. What, ages 3 through 10, probably?
It doesn't say.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah. But I'd say you're in about the range. You're in the ballpark. It's got some really nice cartoony art.
Cartoony art, huh?
Yeah. I'll show you once you've guessed your C.
All right. Well, just because I don't want this to take all night, I'll just say the Caitian species.
All right.
And I know I'm wrong.
You are, because C is for communicator.
No.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah. So there you're getting a little look at some of the art there.
Look, there's an Andorian right there and a Gorn.
Yeah. Yeah, but nope, those are just aliens. Just aliens.
All right, aliens.
All right. We're on to D.
Delta Quadrant.
Unfortunately, D is for deflector shields.
Not the Dideridex class Romulan battle cruiser or the Delta Quadrant. No, the deflectors,
Which are shields. Yeah.
which are commonly known as shields for S. Okay.
Hey,
E,
but I
Enterprise.
was going to
What?
say, now you know that S is probably not shields.
S is for shitty book.
Oh, we're only just scratching the surface of this. E for Enterprise is what you're saying?
Yes.
You are correct. E is for the Enterprise.
There's one. All
There
right.
is-
Fantastic.
Yeah. We're on to F.
I should actually start thinking about these. Well, it could be frequency, like hailing frequencies. Yeah, I'll go with frequency. It's wrong.
It is wrong because F is for the Federation.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Okay. You're on to G.
The Gorn.
Correct. G is for Gorn.
Good. Good.
All right. We're on to H.
H. Could go with the Hirogen. They're a good species out of the Voyager series.
That's what you're going with?
Sure.
H is for the Horta.
Ah, the Horta. All right. That's an original series throwback right there.
It is.
Nice one.
Mhm.
Fair enough.
We're on to I.
I. The Iconians. That's a good throwback as well. But they just did a throwback, so maybe not. Let's see. I'll just go with it. The Iconians.
Unfortunately, I is for insignia.
Okay.
And we are on to J.
Jeffrey's tubes.
Interesting choice. But you would have been correct if you would have said Janeway, as in Captain Janeway.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which brings us to K.
I could think of a few different things, but nothing that's going to be recorded for the end of time. Kilogram, because they're using the universal measurement, meters, kilograms, etc.
Kilogram. You sure?
Probably not.
I mean,
Kilo.
with K? Really?
I suppose you could go with the more obvious Kirk, but I mean his name is James Tiberius Kirk or Captain Kirk. But if you're going with the slang, okay, Kirk. We'll go with Kirk.
I'm glad you changed that. K is for Kirk.
All right. Okay.
It's gonna feel bad for you if you on that one.
All right.
I would have gone with
L.
Klingon personally, but
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, we're on to L.
Leonard McCoy.
Interesting guess, but incorrect.
Young.
L would be the one quote in this, and that is live long
and prosper. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we're on to M.
M. Okay. I mean, what could there be for this book that would start with M? Man. Medical Bay?
Interesting one, but they did not go with Medical Bay. They went
This
with,
one they went with McCoy?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
They went with the Mirror Universe.
Oh, come on. Okay.
Gotta have
N.
Evil Spock in there. Yes, we're on to N.
And for no more letters in this quote unquote educational book. Narendra 3. That would be where the Enterprise C was destroyed, defending a Klingon settlement from the Romulans. I know it's not, but that's a damn good guess.
It is. The correct answer, though, is number 1.
That's terrible. I mean, I get it, but number 1.
I once we're past O, I need to go back and show you the art for number 1 because there's something in the background that just it cracks me up.
Okay, you don't want to show me now while we're on it.
Because
O is on the other page.
O is on the other page.
Okay,
so.
The Orions. Let's go with O with the Orion or the Orion Syndicate.
Unfortunately, that is wrong. O is for Odo.
That's a good, other O, but I think this book is wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so I said I would show you the art on number 1. So you can see Commander Riker.
Almost doing the Riker maneuver. Yep.
Right. But what's best is if I slide it over a little bit. What is this conversation
doing? What the hell is this?
So I mean, we have Data down here.
Yeah.
But no idea what's going on, but man, is she laying into that guy.
That's annoying. A for annoying. All right.
We're on to P.
I would have to say that is Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise.
And I would have to tell you, this is the reason we're doing this whole challenge, because P is for Phaser and not Picard.
This book is absolute crap. Number 1, get that off my bridge.
And we're on to Q.
Q.
Yeah, it's Q.
It would have to be.
It would, yeah. Which is even more insulting on this is, because there's the P page, but the Q page actually has Picard on it.
Right. Yeah. Huh. I would also say that Q could also be for Qapla', the Klingon greeting.
It could, but I will tell you, not a lot of Klingon representation in this book.
This book is racist.
And we're on to R.
Riker.
No. They went with Romulans.
Okay, now they bring in the Romulans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we're on to S.
Oh, man. I have a phrase in my head regarding this book, but that's probably not going to be included in there either.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gosh, there's... Standard away team. How about that? It's ridiculous and out there.
It's ridiculous. It's out there, and it's wrong. It's the Starfleet Academy.
Okay.
And we're on to T.
Well, Kirk was already in here, so we can't use Tiberius for his middle name. How about a Targ, a Klingon pet?
Interesting one. But they decided to go with Transporter instead.
All right.
And we're on to U.
United Federation of Planets. No, F was for the Federation already, so we can't have the United Federation of Planets like it actually, would be. Uniform.
Interesting guess, but they went with Uhura instead.
All right.
Okay, we're on to V.
Vulcan.
Vulcan is the correct answer.
Very good.
On to W.
William Riker.
No. They went with warp speed. Look, Riker got his call out with the number 1. That's it.
But that's wrong. I mean, that was a bring back, a throwback to the original pilot episode where the character was legitimately called number 1. They didn't give her an actual name until much later in the series. And this is well after the Next Generation had come onto the screen into the actual airing on television. And that's why Gene Roddenberry was naming as a nickname why Picard had number 1 for William Riker, is because it was a throwback to the original pilot episode for the series Star Trek that never aired until much later. And now fast forward into the Discovery and Strange New Worlds universe, where they are using that same character, number 1, and the much more widely used term of the first officer is number 1. So there you go.
All right, we're on to X.
The first thing that comes to mind is X-ray, but that's more of a basic thing. Can't use tricorders or phasers. That's an interesting one. Very, very interesting. And nothing is coming up, so we'll go with X-ray.
Would you like a hint?
Sure.
Kind of cover. Okay, so it's a species.
Oh, how about the Xindi?
There you go. It's the Xindi. Okay. You're not going to like this one, but we're on Y.
Why? Why? How about Yar? Tasha Yar.
No. They went with the Yeoman. It's one of the few.
Well, Yeoman Rand, who was only in a fraction of the episodes. In fact, she was in less episodes than Tasha Yar was in on The Next Generation. I'm pretty sure, because Tasha Yar was in like 20 episodes in the first season and then brought back in Yesterday's Enterprise in an alternate universe, and then mentioned several times as Sela, who was the daughter of Tasha Yar and a Romulan citizen. So if you wanted to go by episodic numbers, Tasha Yar had been mentioned or in episodes of The Next Generation more than Yeoman Rand in the original series. And that's without me fact checking. So if somebody wants to tell me the number of episodes that Yeoman Rand was mentioned or present in the original series versus episodes of Tasha Yar in The Next Generation, you go right ahead. That email is kidder at beerbluesbs.com.
All right, we're on the last one. Z.
What could it be? Zulu for like Zulu time, but that wouldn't be correct. I'm trying to think of everything that's out there because none of this it's like some of this obvious, and then the rest of it's like, oh yeah, it's a communicator. Okay, great. I'm feeling like I need to lose my mind on all of this because, you know, why not? Z. Is it a? I'm playing like Wheel of Fortune here. is it a person? Zephram Cochrane. It's not a person.
It's not a person.
Okay, well, Zephram Cochrane would have been a fantastic one as the inventor of warp drive. Okay. Is it a thing?
No.
Okay. So it's not a species.
It is a species.
It is a species.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh my gosh. You know, all the obvious species are not starting with the letter Z. But yeah, this one's stumping me. I cannot think of a name of a species here with the letter Z. What series was it from?
I was just about to tell you. It's from the original series.
Of course, it was the original series. It was the species with the half white and half black face, right?
No.
No. I'm doing my best to not go and research because I'm going to need more alcohol.
I do hope that everybody is finding this to be very illuminating as we've gone through and enlightening.
Learning your alphabet. Yeah, I am not able to think at this point.
All right. Well, Z is for the Zatarans.
Yeah, that is not a main species. I would have gone with Zephram Cochrane myself. And tell people and have kids learn how to say and spell Zephram Cochrane. That would be my thing. So,
well, Kidder, your final score, you got 6 correct.
6. Okay, it's better than I thought.
Yeah, 6 out of 26. So
that's what, like 8%?
I'm not going to do the math. It's too late for me to do the math.
Better than 0.
It is better than 0. Yeah. And I want to say, part of the reason I wanted to do this is because I kind of figured this would be the result. Some of it's because some of it is just so random in what they chose, and then like obvious ones you would think they would use, they didn't. And I don't think this would have been easy for anybody. So,
well, I'm sure there's other people out there who are, I don't know, more literal thinkers, maybe. I don't know. It might be just the problem. I have too much Star Trek knowledge floating around my noggin that, or it might be just because I didn't put my comm badge on or something. maybe, you know, I could put the Next Generation comm badge on here. The official Roddenberry Authentic. Or perhaps I didn't have my Mirror Universe pin on. Or, well, let's just open this up. Oh, hold on. You're gonna love this. You just hold on. Settle down.
Well,
Settle
we're
down.
waiting. Everyone's waiting with bated breath.
Bated breath. Maybe the 50th anniversary comm badge. I didn't have that on. Or maybe it's because I didn't have my Admiral rank pips on. Or oh geez. Oh geez. Go back in there. Thank you. Thank you. These are the also the authentic off of you know, the uniform. Or maybe because I didn't have my captain rank pips on. Or is it oh yeah, there's more. Don't worry. Maybe I got demoted, or I'm an up and coming young officer and I didn't have my lieutenant commander rank pips, you know, on my uniform here. Let me just put those back in there. Yep, there's more. You just wait. Yes, I own something from Star Trek Discovery. It's the Section 31 badge. Maybe that one. How about, you're going to love this one, the science insignia from Star Trek Beyond. Look at that. Or maybe, just maybe, I didn't have the science insignia from, yes, the 2009 Star Trek movie. Maybe. And I have more. I'm just going to, for the sake of this whole thing, keep going.
So, yeah, that was Star Trek: The Alphabet Book, The Challenge. As I said, the reason I wanted to do this was because when I saw it, there were a couple of those things where I'm like, oh, P's got to be Picard, K's got to be Klingon. And they weren't, and so that sparked the idea of just how well would Mark Kidder do with this, and how much would he agree. I will say, while Kidder's putting that stuff away, that I do think that the book leans very heavily original series.
It kind of does, yeah. I mean, here, I think we're in an alternate universe. That's what this is. It's a captain's badge from an alternate universe. Or if you really want to get down to it, how about the movie era insignia for captains? There's I'm covering it up. There's Captain Sulu, or Captain Spock, my bad, right there. And there's the captain's pin for the original series movies. So if you want to lean original series, there you go. What else do I have in here?
I was going to say, Kidder, though, I was a little disappointed you didn't get Borg, B for Borg. That one I thought was a gimme.
You know, had I listened to... Oh, boy. I can't close this. Had I listened to one of the classic songs, Borg Queen, by the Rat Pack, then maybe I would have been in that right frame of mind. But I just was not into it at this moment this evening. So maybe they'll make a second book that won't suck as much, and then I'll be in my right frame of mind.
Yeah, no, it's I will say thanks for being a good sport about it, because you know.
You're welcome. What else do I have to do? We gotta have some content to fill this thing.
Well, and it just was interesting enough, and I hope the audience enjoyed playing along with it at home. So, but Kidder, we're actually... Oh, you're still showing off stuff.
Yeah, why not? How about the official Star Trek 30th anniversary for the Next Generation challenge coin from the convention, or perhaps one of my favorites. Oh, hold on. That's not the right one.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Mark Kidder Collectible Podcast, a podcast where Kidder shows off all of his collectibles. We're in hour 20 of this podcast with no intermission in sight.
No, there's no intermission. No weakness.
Yep.
That's disheartening. I don't know where that one went.
Oh no.
My Deep Space Nine one, but also got from when Discovery premiered. Here's the USS Discovery for the 2019 convention. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna take this thing out. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be in here somewhere, right?
Who would have thought that by episode 3 we'd gotten off the rails?
Oh yeah, we're off the rails, all right. Those rails, they're leading out of town, just like our viewers.
Someone's there's like, I was not expecting this. Especially, no. I will say for the few folks who probably listen to this on the audio version, I mean, this is just gripping. It is just literally Kidder talking about pins that they cannot see. So if you are listening to the audio podcast and would like to see all of these fine collectibles in all of their glory,
go to Google. Where the hell did that go? This is crap. All right. Well, I'm sure we have another topic, don't we, Howard?
Well, yes, because you and I are actually getting together here tomorrow.
The old Fastlane.
Yeah. What I would say is probably the worst pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah, I mean, why would WWE end up scheduling a pay-per-view like 3 weeks from WrestleMania? And on top of it, there have been a couple changes. So Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are now the Raw Tag Team Champions again. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Very interesting, I guess. But why? Why?
Probably because they want those two to have the titles at Mania. Because it'll sell better. To me, it's that whole thing of you're working on all of these programs. You walked out of Elimination Chamber. You knew that it was going to be Roman Reigns versus Edge. Why are we having Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan? Does anybody actually think that we're going to see Daniel Bryan beat Roman Reigns and get what? Edge versus Daniel Bryan? I don't think so.
Right. And that's the huge thing. Because does he deserve it? Yes. Oh, man. I'm allergic to the bullshit from all of that. Almost lost it there. But yeah, Daniel Bryan, fantastic wrestler. There's a possibility that he might be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year with his wife and his sister-in-law. Okay. Very interesting. Again, why? Because if he's still wrestling, even if it's next year when he could be inducted, I mean, why? But the build-up with Roman Reigns, the head of the table, the chief, the head of the table, et cetera, and then all of a sudden, well, Daniel Bryan deserves a title shot, which he does. And I know he wants to be a champion again before he hangs it up. But is he actually going to win? No, I don't think he's going to win. And I found it, by the way. The 25th anniversary coin from the convention. So there you go.
As I said, this is why I've never liked the pay-per-view in this spot. I can understand Elimination Chamber because it's a nice kind of follow-up to the Rumble. because they've done it a couple of times where it's like, well, we don't know who the number one contender is for the other title that didn't get picked.
Mm-hmm.
We'll settle it in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Great. That works. But this one, it's like, again, you're seeing these title, challenges that why? It's just to set up some story,
Yep.
You're going to see Bianca Belair partner with Sasha Banks. Why? So that they can probably have a disagreement in the match and it sets up their Mania.
Mm-hmm. Because that's also weird. The two of them are kind of BFFs right now, with little squabbles here and there, but they're working as a team. But we're facing each other at WrestleMania, so how can they coexist? The classic. By God, are they going to be able to coexist? I don't know, but you're going to have to tune in and just find out. Okay.
Yeah.
Edge is also the special enforcer for the match with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan at Fastlane. There was going to be any question there with Jey Uso or Edge being involved.
Truthfully, I think they're setting up a triple threat at Mania. I think that's what you're going to see there. That would be my guess. You're going to see some screwy finish, and we end up in a triple threat.
Which I don't think it's needed. I really don't. For a championship match, with how it's been booked to this point, and not even to this point with Roman Reigns, since he's been a champion for months now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not needed in this context, because the whole thing is Edge, the Cinderella story with Edge, getting back to it, wrestling on the greatest stage of them all, and for him to win the title. So it's not needed.
Yeah. It's really not, unless it's the only reason why you put a third person in is for them to take the pin. Because then,
and I guess it takes the heat off of Roman Reigns, so then he doesn't look as weak.
Right. Because then you can go down the road to the next one, which is usually what, Payback or Backlash? One of the two.
I'm just going to say yes.
Revenge the pay-per-view. We'll just call it that. And it's, and you get the challenge of, well, I wasn't pinned at WrestleMania. I didn't really lose the title. And now you have your rematch. I mean, it's
right.
It's one of those things. I know it seems like we are overly criticizing the WWE, which I think is very easy for a lot of people to do these days. I would say at some point, both of us have enjoyed the show and enjoyed the WWE and loved the content they were created. I know for me, over the last several years, I mean, I've been burned out, and I probably wouldn't be following the product, except that it's an excuse for you and I to get together once a month.
Right.
That's probably the truth of it. I stopped watching the weekly TV stuff a long time ago. And even then, I was getting together with you to watch it. We were fast forwarding through huge amounts of the show. I mean, we would finish. Well, I mean, we'd get through like 3 weeks of television in like an hour.
Yep.
So we weren't really, digesting it or enjoying it. It was more of like, we just want to know what the story is so that when we get to the big event, we, and my burnout comes a lot from just how much content there is. And you and I have talked about this before outside of the podcast, but it's too much, man. It's what is it, 7 hours of content on TV just from WWE a week?
Yeah, and that doesn't include Superstars, because I think they're still airing it on some television networks. I could be wrong. I have no idea. But Superstars was either 1 or 2 hours, so there's that. And then, of course, Raw, SmackDown, NXT as the three primary brands, if you will. And of course, there's where you get the 3, 5, 7 hours every week just with that. And then, if they do a special or something, there's that, plus the pay-per-views with the pre-show, and then the main event or the show itself, which, it's kind of nice to get hyped for the pay-per-view with the pre-show. Adding an extra match on there, yeah, not too bad. I mean, it's kind of like Sunday Night Heat. To me, that's how it is. Sunday Night Heat used to be, okay, tune in, you could see some of the up-and-coming wrestlers. And you know what? Who's going to show up on Heat of the main roster or the big-time names? Because, of course, they're probably coming into the show because they're on the pay-per-view. So, I mean, I always enjoyed watching Heat on Sunday nights as well. And, of course, they got rid of that. So, Velocity, whatever.
Yeah.
But Heat.
Yeah, no, it is, as I said, it's been too much. And I used to listen to a couple of podcasts to follow stuff because, a podcast that could summarize Raw in an hour and a half and kind of cut it in. And I would even listen to it on 1.5 times speed. So I could listen and get all of Raw in like 45 minutes, along with some other banter and analysis. That was easier for me to keep up with until COVID hit, and then I didn't go anywhere. And if I didn't go anywhere, why would I listen to a podcast? And so soon I had such a backlog of that. Now I don't even listen to those anymore. So
right.
I really.
Why are people going to listen to this podcast?
Well, for us, we're being entertaining, and I think nowadays you're seeing more and more people get out
loosely
and about.
Entertaining, of course.
And depends on how many drinks in you are. That could determine.
Yeah, I can work on that a little bit.
So, but needless to say, that's. I was going to say, so Kidder, when did you get into WWE? What brought you in to it, and why are you still watching?
Well, I think it was because we were, young and dumb and doing backyard wrestling. I mean, that was really a thing. The North Dakota Wrestling Federation, the NDWF, and which I must add that I am still the disputed LEW champion. Which, yes, I have made a defense. You just didn't show up, if you remember that one. So I win by default, and therefore, and still the LEW disputed champion. And don't make me go get the belts because they are accessible. But going back to 97, 98 in there, we were doing stupid backyard basement wrestling, whatnot. Almost broke my neck twice, so I'm happy to still be here. And then we were watching all the shows. We get together, watch the pay-per-views when you actually head through your cable or satellite provider. Click subscribe and then pay the $49.99 a month, or $59.99 a month, or $75 for the WrestleMania product, and then we'd make an event out of it. We'd sit there through the whole show, and of course, there's no rewatching it. There's just tape on the VCR, so then you can watch it later. Now, the advent of the WWE Network, that's a whole other issue or benefit, which will soon, in a couple days, be gone because it's just Peacock and NBC Universal getting that purchase, and then you'll only be able to watch the WWE product through Peacock. But we would all get together and watch wrestling. And then, of course, when we met back in 2002, we're like, oh, you like wrestling too. All right, sweet. Well, let's watch wrestling and talk about it and who's wrestling. And then through college, when we were together a lot more and in the same place and not having a ton of things to do after getting classwork done and work not happening that night or whatever, we would be able to do it. So really just, them getting me into wrestling is one of the things that was really interesting for me. And then having the hype and experience and excitement around it as well of everybody else watching it and staying excited as well. That's really what got me into wrestling. And then of course the personas. I think the first person that was exciting to me was The Rock, as he was the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, and and teaming up with the Rock and Sock connection. And then Stone Cold. What? Stone Cold. What? And I really got into Stone Cold Steve Austin, the baddest son of a bitch on the planet. And then, it just kind of went on from there. And after he kind of had his time and other wrestlers started coming in and, kind of still got attached with Edge, Christian, some of the other big names, I suppose, Triple H, Randy Orton to an extent, more so just to hate him with how he used to be. Randy the Robot is really what we used to call him, because I am Randy Orton. I am going to give you a promo right now. And then, well, the best in the world, CM Punk, came to be. And really, really was excited getting to watch him do all his various things through the different promotions, I guess, shall we say. Once he came into ECW and then got onto the main roster, Raw and SmackDown, and then becoming a champion on those brands as well. I mean, it was super interesting. So, went to WrestleMania. What happens right before WrestleMania? CM Punk has left the WWE. Really? Awesome. I mean, it was a phenomenal WrestleMania. If you go back and watch WrestleMania 30 from New Orleans, not only was New Orleans a phenomenal city with some amazing food, but the show was awesome. 75,000 crazed WWE fans invading New Orleans and getting to check out the whole area leading up to it, getting to meet some of the superstars like Booker T, Big E, R-Truth, the New Age Outlaws. Saw the Usos rolling through the area, and of course other and there as well. It was really interesting, and it was really crazy, and it was cool. And watching Daniel Bryan get to win the 2 title belts after wrestling those 2 matches, it was a phenomenal experience. And so it's those sorts of things that really keep me interested in wrestling. Also the house shows that we've been to here in Bismarck, Grand Forks, when I went to those up there, got to meet Charlotte Flair, and then here's a throwback. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, met him up in Canada along with Howard Finkel. Got to have a promo with the Fink, and then have dinner with Tully Blanchard, one of the original 4 Horsemen, which was very cool. And also the Bobby the Brain Heenan. We got to meet him before he passed away. And unfortunately, because of his medical conditions, he wasn't able to talk or do a whole lot, but you could still see the expression on his face. And when he was able to meet true wrestling fans and talk to us, get those autographs. So I have his autograph. Just super cool experiences. And I dig that. And I know that, you have similar experiences. So how did you get into wrestling?
And for me, I the first experience that I had with wrestling was either in, it was like I think it was in 94, 95. It was during the Lex Express. For those who aren't up on their wrestling history, Hulk Hogan was leaving the WWE. Vince McMahon thought that Lex Luger would be a great replacement, and to try and get him over, they decked him out in red, white, and blue, and they put him on a bus, and he toured the country, stopping signing autographs. Yeah, trying to win over and try and build this audience for him. And I remember we were visiting my grandma. We were in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and my one cousin, who was a big wrestling fan, wanted to go and get his autograph. He was in town. And so she took us, all of us grandkids, to go. And I remember my cousin Jamie trying to explain to us who Lex was, and it's like, he's like, what's Lex Luger? He's the guy who slammed Yokozuna. It's like, what? What do you mean, slam Yokozuna? Huh? Who? No idea.
What's a Yokozuna?
What's a Yokozuna? I was, let's see, 94 puts me at about 10 years old. So, yeah, it's like I was 9 to 10. So I had no idea. Other than that, I would see the occasional WWE Superstars was on after Saturday morning cartoons. And it wasn't really anything where you got to see the big names. You didn't get to see Yokozuna or Bret Hart, fight each other. You got to see Yokozuna squash Phil from Scranton, and in a 2-minute match.
Phil.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of stuff that you were getting to see, and so what always appealed to me, at least at that age, was these gimmicks, because I knew superheroes existed. I knew that there were things like superhero comics, but I didn't have any, and we didn't have money for comics when I was growing up, and there was a small comic shop in town, but I couldn't tell you where it is. So these were the closest things I got to superheroes. So I saw Superstars. I knew names, nothing more. And then later, it would have been right around 2000. My family finally got more than one channel. We actually had satellite. And once we got satellite TV, because for the most part growing up, I had 3 channels, and we got satellite. And occasionally I would stumble upon Raw or SmackDown. I watched it a little bit. I followed some of the characters, things like that. But it wasn't a religious thing. It wasn't like, oh, man, it's Monday night, I got to go watch Raw. It's kind of like, there's nothing else on. Watch this guy. Yeah, I mean, but it was that, and I really didn't start trying to get into it and learn more until getting really to meet you. It was one of those things, because I moved in high school, and you were one of the first people I ended up really kind of getting to know and such at that point. And it was one of those things where it's like, oh, you're into wrestling? Okay, I can get into wrestling. And so I made more of a point to watch it, because it gave me one more thing to talk to you about. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can, and it's not like before that you could say, oh, he's totally not into this, and suffering through it. It's like it appeals, but it wasn't anything where it's like, oh, need to watch all the time. And yeah, it kind of grew from there, watching with you guys on occasion and such, and into college. But I mean, I've had times where I've dropped off. I mean, when I moved out to Montana, I was gone for several years, and I really didn't watch at all. And it wasn't until I moved back, and then you and I started watching again on a weekly basis. So that really, it's kind of been more of that. And I would say, you listed off a slew of personalities that have appealed to you. I've always had one or two guys that I've enjoyed watching, but I tend to be more, I think, story oriented. I want a good story, which I think also makes it tough to watch these days, because I just don't feel like the stories are as good.
Correct.
The talent is amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would make the argument that you probably have one of the most talented rosters right now in the history of WWE.
Vast talent is not just 5 or 6 people, and then that's your top tier. The talent, they're a lot more of them able to do a lot more things. I see.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's amazing in that sense. But the thing that really does strike me with that is, you're not getting to see all these guys pushed. You're not really seeing a lot of great storytelling. It's a little bit hard to watch in that sense. I just can't get behind it. And every time that they do put something out there that I'm like, okay, this has something, they do something that just kills it for me.
Yeah.
Like the latest one that I think probably killed it for me. I loved what they did with the Fiend. Honestly, when they started that with the whole Firefly Funhouse, it was this kind of great demonic twist on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It was interesting. It just was different. And then you got to the matches, and they built him as somebody who couldn't lose. And they did just horrible things with that and raced to put him on the title on him. And then it just kind of became this thing, and it just kind of fizzled. It was this great character, but they didn't know then what to do with him in the ring. And that's sad, because I think that's a character that doesn't need the title. They could have been interesting without it and such.
Yep.
But that's what happens to me, is I get behind something, I get into something, and then it goes away, And yeah, so that makes it hard. I want just, a good story. If I'm going to sit and watch, I just want to see, I want that entertainment. If I'm going to sit and watch this product, I want to be entertained. And it's, the matches are important, but it's the storytelling for me. And that, like I said, it's been lacking, and that such. But that's how I got into it. Was, as I said, it was kind of a passing thing for the long time, and then it was a thing that, hey, you and I shared. It was an interest in this product.
And then a couple things that I'm sure that you probably haven't seen anyway, whom you were interested in. First of all, Aleister Black. Where has he been? There's speculation that he's asked for his release. And then I just saw, as of the 19th, that Andrade has requested his release from the roster. And I mean, that one's an interesting one to me, because he could basically have kind of whatever he wants, because he's engaged to Charlotte Flair, and Charlotte Flair is the top go-getter. So, I mean, there are some doors that I would guess would be opened for him if he wanted to be that top tier guy. And I don't know if it's just because Zelina Vega was done with it and hit the bricks as well, or if there's something else going on.
I think that they put a lot in on the fact of Andrade with Zelina, and once you lost Zelina, it's, what do you do with this guy? Which is unfortunate, because again, it falls into that very talented guy. He's fun to watch, He plays that smug characters very well. His what's his weakness? The promos, which is why you partner him with Zelina, who could do fantastic heel promos for him.
Very, very good at the promos. Yep.
Yeah, and so you kind of have that situation, and it's, I mean, I don't blame him asking for his release. Although I would kind of wonder if some of that isn't just a ploy. Contracts may be coming up, maybe I'd like to go wrestle for the other guys and see what they offer and see if they get offered more. But I mean, it wouldn't be the first super talented individual that they kind of held back in that instance.
Yeah, I think it happens a lot, unfortunately. And just recently, Christian going over to AEW, signing with them, and the Big Show, and then throwing WWE under the bus, throwing shade at them for how they treated him.
I can understand that from the Big Show. I did watch an interview with Christian Cage where he talked about it, his flip, and it sounded very much like he wanted to work with young talent and try to improve and help them and and such. I think that because of that, he had a real desire to go somewhere where his skills would be used. And I mean, he's been with the WWE for a while, and what have they done with him? Here I think, is he going to wrestle a bunch of matches? Probably not. But he could easily help somebody get over, and to build up some skills. And I think it's a good call for that. I haven't seen Paul White's reason for leaving, but I can understand if he wasn't happy with his treatment. I mean, the guy, for a giant, for a big man, he was always entertaining. I can't think of a time where I was ever like, oh, it's the Big Show, except for that brief period where they were flipping him every week. You're a face this week. You're a heel this week. You're a face this week. You're a heel this week. It's like that I couldn't stand, but otherwise, he's always been entertaining, and I really think you could have done something with him, and it didn't have to do a lot, but again, they have him doing commentary over on AEW. I saw that show is up on YouTube. I was kind of tempted to check it out just to see how he does on commentary. I think he'll be fine, but just kind of curious.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, and maybe one day it'll be interesting, because I wanted to see Edge and Christian back together in some way, whether it's paralleling, they're partners, but they're not tag partners. They're doing their own thing, but they're still kind of together, or even having them turn on each other again and doing something like that where they're fighting each other. But yeah, elevate the new talent, give them something to work for. The Royal Rumble was awesome with that.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, they got a big pop with that, and but that also gets to be part of the problem. This year's Royal Rumble was, I think, on average, I forget what the average was. The average age, it was up around 38, 40. They brought in a lot of the old guys, which is a shame, because there's some, again, really talented young people on there that I would have loved to have seen in that match, and it would have been interesting in that regard. And the Royal Rumble this year, I watched from my bed as I was going through some stuff at the time, and I couldn't help but think that you had a great story with the whole Edge Orton thing leading it off and that, but it ended. I hated the ending of it. I mean, I'm glad Edge won, but the fact that Orton is the whole idea, he's been gone this whole time, working on the knee, and he comes back, and it's an RKO followed by an Irish whip, and look, Orton's out. You could tell that so much better. Have him come out after Edge has won. Bring a chair. Have him fight a little bit. Have him throw Edge over. Edge barely hangs on. Tries to push him off. He doesn't go. Tries to throwing a punch, knocking him a little bit back, and Edge is still hanging on. Exhausted because he's gone from number one all the way to the end. Orton goes for the RKO because that's what he would do. And Edge just catches him as he's going for the RKO and just pulls him over the rope. That would have been interesting storytelling. That would have just added to that Cinderella story of Edge. But no, Irish whip and Orton's out, and even his surprise out of nowhere was not that great because Rollins had just done that, in 3 minutes before that. So it's kind of great. So yeah, we'll see. But anyway, for Fastlane, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be great.
Probably not.
So we'll see how it goes, and then it's on to Mania, which it's scheduled for 2 nights? Is it? That's just too
Saturday
much.
and Sunday.
As I said, going back to too much. I'd be okay with this single 1 day big WrestleMania event. 2 days is that's gonna be a lot.
Yes, it will. I think it's going to be a lot. Even the one thing we talked about before of, okay, will it be better if it's 2 nights and it's just 2.5, 3 hours long? Okay. And you can watch it in your own time, a little less time. Or would it be better just to have 7 hours in a row? That's WrestleMania, just like it's been.
Yeah. Well, and I think I told you my personal preference is the one, and mostly right now because I have a 1-year-old, so me spending 2 days, 2 nights, down at your place watching WrestleMania. I mean that's just a lot of time. It's easier for me to be gone for 7 hours. My wife can entertain the little one for a day. That's not so bad. But when it's 2 nights, now that's kind of a commitment, and that gets a little bit harder. So I just not excited about it.
Maybe the next episode will have to be us sitting here through Fastlane and then determining what we're going to do for Mania. Yes, it's a 4-hour show. You're in this with us. Congratulations.
I don't think we need to put anybody through that sort of pain and misery.
All right. Just watch us keep drinking.
Well, Kidder, we've been going for quite a while.
Yeah, I suppose, it is one of those things where we happen to get on a topic and hopefully it's interesting. And if not, well, then you can always use the fast forward button. But before we go, I wanted to kind of do a little bit of a review on a new toy that I got.
All right.
Happens to be the brand new Xbox headset. Truly wireless headset from Xbox, Microsoft. Connects directly into your Xbox without any dongles, USB, anything like that. And then to charge it, there's just a single USB-C port. That's right on the bottom. See if I can get that. Yeah, it's right in here. There it is. You just plug it in, charge it up, and then you're good to go for like 15 to 18 hours. Plus, it has in the cones, it'll tell you if it's your right or your left ear. The little boom, it kind of agitates me because it's very small. So on my face, it sits about here. And I know a lot of the headsets have that as kind of their thing now. I don't really know why, but I kind of prefer to have a little bit more of a boom so it's closer to your mics. And if you end up kind of whispering or something, your teammates can hear you. But what's cool is it has an automatic muting on it. You can change the mute factor. You can also easily change the equalizer on it if you'd like to go off the res with the equalizer of your own choosing, plus bass boost, 0 to 10. And then on the sides, what's interesting is this right side is your volume. You can see it's turning. And then the other side with the mic on it is for your game or audio chat. If you want to hear your teammates or if you want to hear more of the game volume, the mixer's right there on the side. So far, the sound quality is awesome. The ear cups are super comfortable, and so is the headband. It is definitely not this freaking headband that keeps putting a divot in the back of my freaking skull when I'm wearing these freaking headphones. But I could pair these up to my laptop with the Bluetooth included in the headphones. And then on the back side, I know it's really hard to see with the lighting, but the little green button there is the on-off button, and then you can also hold it in and pair it, whether you want to do Bluetooth or not. Interesting thing is that also there's a little light on the end So then you know if you are on, or you can hit the mute button right on the bottom here and the light turns off. And it gives you the whoo kind of sound in your ear to know that you were muted or you are on the air. Maybe I should do that while we're sitting here. I should try and pair. How to kill your computer, step 1. But so overall on 1 to 5, so far I would give them 4.5. The ears or how it expands and whatnot, kind of nice how it's included, but there could be a little bit more. Again, with how it's shaped here and the ease of trying to get them fitted for your head, and then of course the other part is the mic boom right here only being that long. One of those things where I would like it to be longer. So overall, so far so good. And the price on them, if I remember right, $100. So compare these to my Astro A50s, which were retail at $300 when I bought them, and there's the new version is still $300. They were on sale when I bought them, but comparing these with the sound quality that these have to the other ones, I would choose these over those to purchase them, because it's straight here. This is all it is. To charge them, you plug in the cable and they just sit there and they charge. The other one, the A50s from Astro, they have a docking port plate. That's also how it's connected to your console. And it half the time does not want to, because you just set them on the cradle. Half the time it won't charge. You got to get it exactly lined up and spend 2 minutes trying to get it exactly correct on there and for it to read. And so it's more of an annoyance as you're trying to get your headphones charged. Or you think you put them on there right, you see the little charge light come on, and then the next time you come to game, you pick them up and they don't turn on. So then you get it again on there, and on the display, it shows you that it is dead. So with these, you plug them in directly. There's the little light on the back that blinks when it's charging, and then it stays solid after it's charged. So you know that it is charged. Plus, on your console, when you're logged in and it's connected, just like with your controller, it'll show you the battery indicator up in the top right of your screen, so you can see it easily whenever you want to look at it when you pull up your menu. But very nice. I'll show you these at the old pay-per-view. You can check them out and whatnot, but not too bad.
Yeah. No, well, that's cool. I'll have to take a look at them when I'm over there tomorrow.
And like I said, $100. You're not going to break the bank specifically for fantastic sound. Oh, it's also DTS quality sound, and it comes with a 14-day trial, so then you can have the full Dolby digital sound for the headphones, because again, it's connected directly to your console. So fantastic quality sound. So playing Call of Duty, you can actually hear footsteps and change the equalizer and whatnot. It's really cool.
Yeah. No. Cool. I just have a little, like, my headset is only one ear.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all right though. I don't need anything fancy.
Mm-hmm.
That's my general take.
Yeah.
Well, Kidder, I got one last thing I was gonna show you, because joy of fatherhood.
Okay.
With this, I often say my little guy, he cracks me up in different ways, and sometimes it's not anything that he means to do or even realizes he's done, but it's funny. But he's recently he's been getting a lot of Little People. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're little figures.
Nope.
My wife bought him the was a DC superhero pack, and so they're these little plastic figures. They all kind of have their arms stuck up like this. But for his birthday, he got a tractor with one, a little farmer and such.
Okay.
And he was playing with them, and I took a picture of this because this is how I found them when he was done playing with them.
Mm-hmm.
And what you'll see here is clearly Wonder Woman in a tractor running over Robin.
Okay.
I don't know what he's got against Robin. I don't know why this was the way it was, but it was just kind of interesting to walk in and go, oh, wow. He's left this in clearly a scene of vehicular assault.
And now Terra. Page
But
one.
the other thing to point out, Kidder, if you look down in the bottom right corner, you can see the cop is clearly on the ground, not paying attention to any of this, laying down on the job.
I don't know. Training these days must not be that good. I don't know. Yeah, well.
Yeah. Well, I think that brings us to an end of another episode of Beer Blues and BS.
I suppose it's one of those things where we might as well end it while the getting's good, or get it over with to put it out of its misery. So I suppose this comes the cheap plug section of, like us on Facebook, follow us there in the show and give us a feedback, and, tell your friends, because sharing is caring. Top of that, the old KRDN Eyewitness News 8 and the Eyewitness Weather Now, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You get the latest weather forecast for right here in the Bismarck Manhattan area, plus for North Dakota. So it's like we are caring for you as well. So talk to us, message us. He's Howard at beerbluesbs.com. I'm Kidder at beerbluesbs.com. And of course, you can also just message us on Facebook or something like that. But I guess until the next time, which I think the next time we'll talk about Fastlane, talk about some more alcohol. And even though beer is in the title, I think I've only had beer on one episode of this so far. So I might have to remedy that because, it's in the title. So I might have to tap something else. But yeah, aside from that, any last minute closing thoughts there, Howard Blues?
No, I think that wraps it up nicely. So thanks again for listening to Beer, Blues, and BS, and we'll catch you down the road.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
I figured I needed to start recording this because, we're not getting any sound from you, so this is just great. I can just pretend you're agreeing with me. It's great. Yeah. Question is, what did Kidder do to his audio? Nope, nothing. This is great. I can't read lips, so I have no idea what you're saying. It's just I can tell you're ranting. Which is great. Which makes me think you can hear me, but I can't hear you. But I can't. I mean, even I have the closed captions pull up. Even Google's not picking you up. No, that's just rude. What are you doing? Let's see. That. And now Mark Kidder has left the meeting, which means it's just me. Just here. All by myself. It's just me. All by myself. I'm not going to continue that. We'll see if he comes back. That's how my night's been going.
This call is being recorded for quality assurance.
Hey, I can hear you now.
What a magical mystery thing, and you'll have no idea what I said before.
No, but it was a good looking rant. I will say that.
Rant?
It's entertaining.
Rant? You want a rant?
It was good enough. I'm like, I gotta hit record. This is going in at the end of the podcast. We're gonna throw this in. It'll make a great little blooper.
That makes plenty of sense. Why would we want to be able to hear each other?
Yeah.
Or I mean, you hear me have my audio recorded on here. So okay.
Well,
now that we're here, we're recording.
Yeah.
This thing is actually on the move. Now the question is, how is this going to look on the back end after the record button gets turned off?
I have no idea.
Great.
Kind of makes me think I should hit stop recording, take a look to see before we do like an hour of talking. And we find out
probably
that
should.
And hopefully then this is all usable, because
this usable?
All right, let's see. More options.
I'm going to drink to that.
And we are stopping the recording.